Hello, Atom here and welcome back to some more Higurashi When They Cry. Let's continue with Mother's Diary 2. During the family council, she buried herself under Oryu's-san's futon again. Oryu-san dotes on her unwaveringly. No matter whatever insolence my child commits, she doesn't mind. It's almost as though my child is a kitten or something. Oryu dotes on her exactly like you would with a kitten. As her mother, I chided her for doing that. Until Oryu-san had said 3 times that it was fine, I chided her as a formality. Of course, she never lends an ear to any of my chidings. Knowing that Oryu-san's standing was far above mine, she behaves like that. I don't like the cunning that's unbefitting for her age either. In any case, not only Oryu-san, but the rest of the old folk in the village spoil her too much. One day, I was surprised. By chance, on the way back from some shopping, I saw her by herself just outside a candy shop. My own child suddenly grabbed a snack, opened the package right there and then, and started eating it. She didn't make any attempt to pay for it, and she didn't even think of looking around. It didn't even feel like she was shoplifting, more like she was brazenly eating the snacks that were offered to her. Maybe the storekeeper said, "Hey, yeah, sure, go ahead and choose something." And she went, "Okay, I'll have this one." When I began to admonish my child, the elderly shop owner appeared and covered for her. The owner gave a ridiculous excuse that he had said it was okay for that child to eat any of the snacks out by the entrance, so it was fine. When I tried to pay for the snacks that my child had eaten, the owner refused my money. During that exchange, more old folks had suddenly gathered around, and it began to feel like I was one in the wrong. She's mother, because it said that it's mother's side of the family that's the priest, the what is it, the Furude family. It's from the female side, so surely she should know about the rumor and all with the 7th generation one. If the rest of the village knows. The elderly people all put their hands together reverently in front of my child and repeatedly voiced their respects. I was born into the Furude family, so it wasn't like I didn't know why she was being treated specially. When I was still young, it was something I heard often from my grandmother. If by chance the child that I gave birth to was a girl, that child would be living incarnation of Oyashiro-sama. All the older folk believe she is the living incarnation of Oyashiro-sama and spoil her rotten. And not only did they spoil her, but they even told her she was the living incarnation of Oyashiro-sama, that she had a divine power, and threw all sorts of strange folk tales her way. So she may have begun to believe herself that she was a special existence. I went around and told everybody that it wasn't good for her upbringing, so to stop telling her all these strange things. There was no uprooting of the elderly people's deep-seated superstitions. I told my child not to listen to them, but it ended up being that she stopped listening to me. Between all the old folks of the village who would dote on her, and myself who only scolded her, there was no wonder who she would listen to. There was no mistaking that the reason she had become strange was because of the elderly villagers. There was no doubt they had shoved her full of strange folk tales and superstitions since she was young. If it wasn't for that, there was no doubt my child would have been cute and normal. Yeah, right. I doubt that. One sunny parent-teacher day, there was a cooking class. My child was making curry rice with a practiced hand. While the other children her age were awkwardly using their kitchen knives, that child was wielding hers deftly. The teacher appeared with a smile on their face, saying it must be a result of learning it at home. I managed to play it off with a vague smile and a nod in response. That was because I had never once taught my child how to make curry rice. Even then, she was peeling vegetables with a practiced hand, adding them into the pot in the order of which took longer to cook. For a normal parent, they might unintentionally clap their hands together, happy at their child's actions. But in my case, it was different. There was no mistaking that somebody had taught her how to make that curry rice when I wasn't taking care of her. Thinking that, I quietly fell into an unpleasant mood. When I asked, it seemed she could also sew and do the laundry. I'd never taught her how to do those, and again, never saw her do it around the house, be it cooking or sewing or the laundry. Again, that was probably because the elderly villagers taught her all sorts of rubbish when I wasn't looking. Probably more that she had to care for herself for years, so she taught herself how to do it all. Not only that, they probably taught her all sorts of strange superstitions, trying to prop her up as the living incarnation of Oyashiro-sama. I said as much to my husband, suggesting that we should keep our child away from the elderly folk. But my husband, who was in the position of being the head priest of the Furuta shrine, had little power against the elderly who supported it. He took the rather uncommitted stance of saying that as long as she was being doted upon, wasn't it fine? I argued against that. That she was our child, and should be a completely normal girl. Despite the fact that the family lineage is on her side, it sounds more like the head priest is the village insider and she's the outsider. That's what the elderly were expecting, that she was the living incarnation of Oyashiro-sama was simply odd. Like it also appeared with the whole meeting when we heard that and how she was against. He was like following Oryo-sama, and she wasn't. The elderly villagers believe that child has divine powers. We would discuss the weather for the following day, but there were many times when I left the house without an umbrella and came back soaking wet. Rather than having clairvoyance, that was just second-hand knowledge from her watching the news all the time. The things that she knew that she shouldn't have known were just the result of the people who were trying to indoctrinate her and the people who were gossiping and getting together in the village. However, there were certainly days when everybody thought it was going to be sunny and all day. That child would suddenly not go out without an umbrella. It would occasionally rain, and in the end we would be saved. There might also have been times where Rika knew of major accidents in foreign countries faster than the news did. I thought that she must have heard it break over the radio or something. Knowing things she shouldn't have. Something like that. Was in front of me right now, wasn't it? That child was making curry rice when there shouldn't have been anybody who taught her how to. No, that couldn't possibly be the case. Somebody had taught her, indoctrinated her. When I wasn't taking care of her, somebody had indoctrinated Rika with something.
フルデさんのカレーは大変見事です。先生、花丸をあげちゃいます。
Of course she loves curry.
ニパー。フルデさんはお料理を誰に習いましたか？やっぱりお家で？はい、お家なのですよ。
Yes. The other parents in attendance were impressed. Lies, oh lies. Not from her point of view. She did. Just her parents weren't around, or were dead by the time she learnt, probably. I didn't teach her anything. Who was it? Who was it? Who was the person that had completely indoctrinated my child? She was my normal, average daughter, not the living incarnation of Oyashiro-sama. Oh. I think that was just the achievement for all the tips, yeah. So we are near the end. But then what about that whole from the future thingy? Are we not going to continue that?
それは誰もが忘れそうなほど地方の小さな村の出来事。悲劇は幕を閉じ、その傷跡も消え去ろうとしていたある日、青年はかつて出会った少女に思いを馳せる。 あの日聞けなかった言葉、あの日果たせなかった約束、その後悔と慟哭が閉じられたままだった運命を開く一つの光となった。暇つぶし。運命は幸せだけじゃない。でも不幸を望む人なんて誰もいない。
Shouldn't I have 2Ps for happiness?
パパ、パパってば。
That would be the minister's grandson, right?
ああ、
Oh, his child, years later?
大丈夫？怖い夢でも見たの？
Miyuki was sitting next to me. I quickly patted her head after hearing her say that. I must have had a bad dream while sleeping in the cabin. I was sweating profusely.
いや、なんでもない。ちょっと暑かったかな。
I tried to wipe away the sweat while answering, and looked around for a handkerchief or a towel. And then, a cold drop ran down my forehead. Actually, I seem to remember much earlier on when he was first talking about how his wife was pregnant. They didn't know the gender of the child yet, but he was certain that it was a girl, and it just said her. So he was right. It's entirely possible that it was chance, but that she could tell, but maybe not. And a cold drop ran down my forehead. Miyuki turned around and smiled, then wiped my face with the towel she received at takeoff.
ありがとう、ユキ。
This is him probably going to. So it wasn't 2010. I guess I was wrong. It was same year, maybe. Yeah, this is the airplane. Thanks to her, I was finally able to shake off my slumber. So I got up from the aisle and seat and looked out the window. I wrapped my arms around Miyuki in the window seat and listened to the noise as the land and sea blew past before our eyes. Yes, it is quite big. And then the plane gently turned before entering the airport runway. Arriving at the lobby, I glanced around, looking for Oishi, and was met with a familiar gruff voice calling out to me.
Akasaka-san!
So this is the year that Rika dies.
何年ぶりでしょう。ご無沙汰しておりますね。
大石さん、本当にお久しぶりです。
Like 7 years? 6 years? Oishi clapped his hand down on my shoulder, celebrating our reunion.
赤坂さんもだいぶいい顔つきになりましたね。最前線の捜査官らしいいい顔つきですよ。
大石さんはだいぶスマートになりましたね。背筋も良くなったような。これも社交ダンスのおかげですか。
赤坂さんもね、若いうちからダンスはやっておいた方がいいですよ。そしたらきっとモテます。モテモテ。
Oishi had retired and moved to Sapporo, of all things, had started taking ballroom dancing lessons. He'd apparently gotten really into it, and decided to spend the rest of his new life devoted to that hobby. He was aiming to get his instructor's qualifications before he hit 80 and to live out his old age vanity.
Yeah?
That seems different from all the pastimes where he was obsessed with the curse.
そちらがひょっとして？
Oishi suddenly turned his attention to Miyuki, who was standing idly next to me. He bent down on his knee and to look her in the face. So she doesn't have another portrait. However, my daughter was frightened and hid behind my back.
こら、みゆき。ちゃんとご挨拶しなさい。
She was staring at Oishi with a dubious expression while tugging at the hem of my shirt. She's usually not this shy. I wonder what's wrong.
すみません。いつもはこうじゃないんですが。
いえいえ、いいんですよ。
She can tell that he's a bad person.
おじさん、顔が怖いからな。よかったら、お名前を聞いてもいいですか？
赤坂みゆき。7歳です。こんにちはです。
いいお返事です。さすがは赤坂さんの娘さんですよな。
Oishi gently stroked Miyuki's head and smiled as though she were his own grandchild. After finally seeing that, Miyuki smiled in relief. Shortly afterwards, Miyuki told me that she was just doing what I had told her to do. Be careful around strangers. Oishi overheard that and let out a hearty "Wahahaha," shaking his body while laughing and walking. Where's his wife though, I wonder? I let myself into Oishi's car and we headed out towards the hot spring inn. I had originally intended to crash at Oishi's place, but Oishi was quite obstinate that his home wasn't suitable for that, so it came to this. At the inn, we relaxed while soaking in the hot springs, then ate a delicious feast until we were full. Miyuki had a little of a Mongolian barbecue and was delighted with it. After our bellies were swollen, Miyuki grew sleepy and we went off to bed. Then Oishi and I reminisced about the time we played mahjong together in Hinamizawa. It seemed that to celebrate our reunion, Oishi had looked for people who could play. When unable to find a suitable candidate, we had to give up on putting together a table. As we drank together, we excitedly recounted our exploits during the final manhunt.
結局、あの犯人の2人は捕まったんですか？
いいえ。結局、山狩りでも見つけられませんでした。
I don't know why, but it just doesn't feel like it suits him. Let's be honest here.
多分、村にかくまわれてから、海外か遠方でほとぼりを冷ましてるんじゃないかと思いますね。
大石さんは確か、犯人の銃の一丁を奪いましたよね。あれからは
海外の軍用拳銃でした。関西系の暴力団組織が大量に密輸したうちの一丁でしょうな。戦場痕を調べましたが、他の事件とのつながりは何も出ませんでした。そっちでは？
私はあの後、しばらく現場を離れましたので、よくは知りません。結局、全部闇の中ってことで決着したようですがね。
Oishi smiled wryly as he sipped his chilled drink.
あの後は大変でしたね。今年で7年ですか。
ええ。先日、7回忌の法要がありました。
So I'm guessing his wife died in childbirth?
義父とも最近は疎遠でして、準備でいろいろ苦労しました。
Oh, so that's why he would regret not leaving earlier. Aww.
それはお疲れ様でした。
It was then that the hostess brought in the extra drinks that we had ordered before. While the bottles of beer clanked as she brought them in, we halted our conversation. What Oishi meant to say that it must have been tough. What Oishi meant when he said it must have been tough. Thinking about that was still hard, but time had healed the wound. It was the day after, and my friend wished to apologize. When I did, she almost immediately handed the phone to one of my colleagues, who happened to be there. Not only was I injured in the brawl with the suspects, but I had disappeared to drink late into the night without leaving any sort of contact info. So I thought he'd definitely be mad. However, all he said was that it was something that he couldn't talk about over the phone, and that I should come to the station as soon as possible. At the time, I could only think that he must have been really pissed off. But when I arrived at the station, he said this.
君の奥さんが事故に遭ったらしい。
What? Having no idea what happened, I borrowed the phone to contact the hospital Yuki was staying at. After being given the runaround, wow. After being given the runaround several times, I was finally able to talk to someone in charge, and after mincing words for quite some time, they told me.
赤坂幸恵様が事故でお亡くなりになりました。
In an accident? I can understand, like dying in childbirth, but why did they say an accident? What happened? The world became a blur as I sat there dumbfounded. Yuki's death was unbelievably abrupt, unbelievably sudden. I could have understood if there was some kind of problem during the birth, but Yuki's death wasn't anything like that. On the stairs on the way up to the roof, she just happened to slip and fall. And she just happened to fall in an unfortunate place at an unfortunate angle. That was it. Wanting to blame Yuki's death on somebody, I began to think that it was an act of revenge by the defense lines, that they killed my wife and made it look like an accident. Rather than that, I was thinking of this series of other deaths. Because that was the night of Washinagashi. Somebody else definitely could have gone missing. Like, it could have easily have been one of the two people who did the two kidnappers. One of them easily could have disappeared. That would have been two deaths for the Washinagashi festival. That would have meant that it would have started a year earlier. And why would it target him? Because... What I learned when I flew back to Tokyo, however, was much more cruel than that. Yuki had a habit of going up to the roof to cool off in the evening. There was an elevator up to the 7th floor, but from there you had to take the stairs to get to the roof. Even late in her pregnancy, when the evening came, she would always head up there. Her father had always said for her to not push herself, but Yuki insisted that until the time she had no choice but to stay in bed, she should be allowed to do as she wished. However, I had never once seen Yuki go up to the roof. I only heard that from her father and the nurses. That was because whenever I visited her, she would spend that time with me instead. Oh, so if he had been there, then she wouldn't have died? Is that what you're saying? Oh. I heard the reason why Yuki went up to the roof from a nurse she had become friendly with. She had said that her husband was away on business a lot of the time, and that whenever he called, she was able to cheer him up and give him courage. But when he didn't call, she couldn't do that. Her husband might put on a show of bravado, but in reality he grew lonesome pathetically fast. She was probably just the same. Whenever he left the business, not clear when he'd be back, she felt very lonely. Whenever she cheered him up, she was actually cheering herself up as well. That's why, whenever he went far away for an important job, on the evenings he didn't call, at the very least she felt that standing underneath the same sky, their feelings would reach her. And also, that also means that if he had been able to call, then the same thing, she wouldn't have died. Did Rika cut it, or did something else cut it and she knew that it would have already happened because of her foresight? Just call it that for now. At that moment, I remembered the words that girl had told me. It was best I go back to Tokyo right away, otherwise there'd be something I'd regret horribly. Yes, that's it. Because I was away on business that day, Yuki had headed up to Rue. Had I known that this would have been the result, had I done as the girl had said and dropped everything to head back to Tokyo, I might have been with Yuki on the day she died. If I was with her, she wouldn't have gone up to Rue. The day my wife died was on the evening of the third day of my trip. Yes. It was right before the time I had the sudden urge to hear Yuki's voice and ran around the village trying to get a phone. The girl had gone around and cut all the phone cords. If she hadn't, and I had made that call, I would have undoubtedly learned of Yuki's death at that time and collapsed in tears. Of course, even though the cords were cut, it had only put me off learning of Yuki's death by that one evening. In the end, I had learned of it the next morning. However, when I managed to put my emotions in order, I realized it was that girl's small token of consideration.
そんな話は初めて聞きました。
ええ、私も初めて話します。
Did you talk about Rico? I'm guessing? Did he actually say that?
偶然では。超能力じゃあるまいし。
大石さんは教えてくれましたよね。あの子はお社様という神様の生まれ変わりではないかと言われてるって。
まあ村の年寄りどもはフルで理科に神通力があると信じてるようでしたがね。
神通力。
Oishi had originally said it as a kind of joke, but realizing that I was serious, he slumped his shoulders.
まあ嘘か本当か知りませんがね。未来のことを予言してみせたり、知らないはずのことを話してみせたり。千里眼だの、天の啓示だの。まあ、いろいろです。もちろん、具体的な実例は何一つありゃしないんですがね。
雪絵の事故を予言してみせました。
Oishi tried to laugh it off, but out of respect to my deceased wife, he kept it restrained.
現職の警視庁の敏腕捜査官が神通力やらたたりやらを信じるわけで。
Having him say that so bluntly, I couldn't respond. Of course, I had no intention of believing such odd things, but he could only say that because he didn't know what I did. Since I met that other girl, who both was and wasn't Rika Furude, I couldn't deny the existence of any otherworldly entity.
予知でなく予告の可能性ももちろん否定できません。
Not prescience, but a warning. If what that girl had said was a warning about Yuki's accident, then things became much easier to understand. Basically, the line of thinking became that it was a threat. Because I didn't go back to Tokyo, my wife was killed in a way that made it look like an accident.
奥さんの事故の検証に不備は？
もちろん、謀殺の可能性も疑いました。現場検証の書類は全て目を通しましたし、私が独自に調査もしました。
There weren't any witnesses to Yuki's fall. There was the possibility that somebody had hidden, waiting to push Yuki down the stairs. However, the cleaning ladies frequented the roof to hang laundry, and the security cameras on each floor hadn't recorded anything out of the ordinary. There wasn't anything being set up on the stairs, and I was unable to find anything.
結局、独自の検証の結果でも、雪絵が単独で事故を起こしたとしか考えられませんでした。
I was unable to find anything suspicious.
まあ確かに。大臣の孫を誘拐して脅迫してのけた連中です。妊婦一人を階段から突き落として証拠を残さないなんてできないことじゃないのかもしれない。
Oishi's expression had completely sobered up.
奥さんは連中に殺された。
think it's a curse. When Yuki died, I thought that as well. More precisely, I wanted to blame somebody, so I created the most viable scapegoat. But without any clear evidence, that violent notion faded along with the wounds in my heart.
あの少女は私に妻の死を予告し脅迫したのか、それとも妻の死を予言し救う道を示したのか、そのどちらかなのだとしたら私は後者ではないかと考えます。
Oishi smiled slightly, in disbelief, as he poured more beer from his bottle.
じゃあいいですよ。赤坂さんの言う通り、古出理香は未来がわかる預言者だとします。なら、なぜあの大災害が予知できなかったんです？
Which disaster?
あんな恐ろしいガス災害が起こると知ってて、どうして黙っていたんです？ほんの数時間前でもいい。
So the same as the third game.
もし村に知らされていたら、ほとんどの人は死なずに済んだかもしれないじゃないですか。
It was near the end of June 1983. Yeah, I'll keep going. Volcanic gases from the Yonagafuchi swamp erupted and hit the village in the middle of the night. It was an unprecedented disaster where the whole populace was wiped out. It caused a wave of panic about volcanic gas across the country, causing people to overreact over any reports of what smells. I hadn't heard of the blockade in the Himatsubushi area being lifted. Should still be cordoned off.
それは
It was my turn to be lost for a response.
まあでも、お社様の生まれ変わりである古出理香が殺されたので、村がお社様の怒りに触れて、それで沼から瘴気が湧き出して村を死滅させたんじゃないかって。そういう話が確かにひなみ沢系の生存した人間たちの間でまことしやかにささやかれてたのが事実ですね。
大石さん、失礼。今殺されたとおっしゃいましたか？
ああ、うん。まあ赤坂さんになら話しても問題ないか。
When I saw the news about the gas disaster, I remembered that girl. And then found her name in the list of victims. That's why, at the time, I thought her own death she had predicted was due to the gas. It was after that I learned from the tabloids of a series of mysterious deaths in Himatsubushi during the 5 years leading up to the disaster that became known as the Curse of Oyashiro-sama. And that string of mysterious deaths lined up exactly with what that girl had predicted. So I'd always thought to ask Goshi about it, as he had been involved in the investigation. That's right. That was the reason for our reunion. Right now, Oishi had said, Rikufude didn't die in the disaster, but was killed.
最後の年のたたりについて聞かせてもらってもいいですか？
私、退職したとはいえ、守秘義務がありますよ。
中井さん、すみません。お冷やでちょっとグレードの高い地酒はありませんか？種類はお任せします。
いやいや、そういうつもりで言ったんじゃないんだけどな。
Oishi laughed loudly, not wholly unsatisfied, and stopped the hostess to tell her that the cheap booze was fine.
私も週刊誌で報道されている通りのところまでは知っています。 でも大災害の年のたたりは全く知りません。
例の大災害のせいでひなみ沢地区全域が封鎖されちゃいましたからね。最後の年のたたりについてはほとんど操作ができてないんですよ。何年か後に封鎖が解けたとしても村人のほとんどが死んでますし、数少ない生存者も親戚の元なんかに散って所在がほとんどわからないですからね。完全に迷宮入りです。